Okay.
That was awesome.
Hello, everybody. It is April 21st, 2026. Due Diligence is back. As Monique pointed out earlier, it hasn't been 9 months. It's been more like 5 or 6. Even then, I think I only did 1 or 2, and then it was quite a bit of time before that. So I'm just trying to get... Stella's trying to get her groove back here. Living in Florida, hanging with... I want to say... Why would I not use the word friends? Of course I'd use friends. I'm hanging with 2 really cool women that I've known for a while that are interested in growth and seeking and health and being balanced. And I haven't had a lot of that in my life, I guess. So I'm here to absorb some of that. So we're back. The crux for this was it a week ago? Maybe it was more than that now. Good grief, Sean. I have no concept of time. We were at the Miami Human Design Conference. Monique was one of the founders, and Carla was one of the presenters. And Carla, you and I met 2 years ago in Santa Fe. Mm-hmm. And we talked about, I keep wanting to call them scents. I don't know what I want to call that, but like essential oils, stuff that you could smell. Mm-hmm. And I remember talking about Melissa, a particular scent, which was, I think my question to you at the time was, what do you use for just like a basic starting scent? Because I really actually had no sense of smell. I was also looking for anything that would help me feel better. And I just recall at the time, I was looking for the shortcut of shortcuts. And mm-hmm. My memory was you were like, dude, Melissa was the first one I've tried. Start with that or something to that effect. Yeah. And then while you were speaking this week, you commented, you were talking about gate 14 for some reason, which is kind of the actual thing that got me going here. And I don't even know why, other than you've got it 4 times, Monique's got it twice, I ain't got it, and I find myself constantly scanning for it. So I'm hoping to get to the bottom of why that is, because I either intuitively know that I'm looking for it, the energy of it, or I need to stop looking for it, because maybe I'm using an excuse for why I'm not getting things done. So that's what we're going to try to get to the bottom of today, as well as just catching up. I think it'd be fun to talk about the conference a bit, and just about anything else. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you both introduce yourselves briefly. So we're going to grab Carla. Look at this. Oh, now look at you, center stage. Carla, yes. Tell us who you are, what makes you tick, and something we wouldn't know about you.
Who I am, what makes me tick, and something you don't know. Okay, so who I am Carla. I live in southern Utah. I'm a 2/4 emotional generator, right angle cross of Contagion. I am a massage therapist by trade. I've been a massage therapist for 21 years. So bodyworker of all, there's like 13 modalities I'm proficient in, but my specialty is craniosacral therapy. That's the thing that I really love to be able to do and be of service when it comes to body work. I'm a yoga teacher, essential oil advocate. And then human design nerd turned professional. So the thing that makes me tick really is just like whatever makes me say yes. My gate 29 it's my personality sun. So everything that gets me going, that I'm like, oh my God, yes, that would be amazing. Let's do that. That's the thing that really does make me tick. I love my body. I love being in my body. I love being able to embrace how I feel in my body at any given moment. So that also is definitely something that makes me tick. Something you would not know about me. Well, I don't know if you would know this or not. I've mentioned it a handful of times here and there now in different places, but I've been married and divorced 4 times because this bitch that says yes also does not know how to say no. So, no, truthfully,
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah. So, truthfully though, around that, like these people that I married and also divorced, I got married for just not the right reasons. Like one person I really was, in love with and wanted the relationship, eventually wanted to be married to that person, and ultimately got married because it was just going to make my life easier. The other ones were all for like really terrible reasons, and it just is what it is. Good people. I'm not discounting, whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, there's that.
Wow, I have 20 questions already, but we actually have to move on to Monique now. So, Monique, what's going on, dude?
Thanks for having me. I know that you guys were scheduled to do this first, and it was very cool to be added on. My name is Monique, and I'm Monique, like Carla said. What were the questions again? What makes me tick? What gets me going? What was it?
Yeah, well, what makes you tick? What lights your fire? Whatever,
Okay.
whatever.
And then something you don't know. Okay. What makes me tick? I am a person that really enjoys being alive. Like I enjoy, similar to what Carla said about I love my body. I think I love being in my body. I love being in a body. I think it's really cool that we get to be humans in a body. I've always had that lining feeling of that. And I'm somebody who's curious. I'm a seeker like you and like both of you, I think are. I am somebody that really enjoys communing with people, and someone who fully believes we're not here to do this alone. I like to collaborate. I'm a collaborator. I have a podcast with a buddy. Like everything feels better with a buddy for me. And what else? That's it, I think, right now about me. And then something you don't know about me? It's just hard because I say a lot about myself everywhere. Don't know about me. I don't know. I'm an open book, Sean. I feel like everybody knows everything about me because I have like over 100 episodes of a podcast where I've talked a lot of shit because I have I'll tell you this. How about this? Carla and I are new friends. You don't know that. We didn't know each other prior to this conference, and I would love to talk about the conference too. That's something I've never done before. Maybe that's something you don't know. I've never thrown an event of that kind ever before in my life before this. I've worked events, I've done stuff like that, but I've never actually thrown one and with people, like a small team, like the three of us did. Of course, we had a lot of support from you all, but yeah, Carla and I met because of this conference, and we became like buddies a little bit before, and then we got to meet in person at the conference, which I'm so grateful for. And we're born a month apart. And I don't know if you knew that, Sean, or looked at that, but there's not just 14 in her chart, 4 times 14 in my chart, but like, we had our Uranus, it's in our Uranuses. It sounds weird.
You and I?
I'm really, really good at doing shit like that, making words sound weird too. Yeah, so I'm excited to be here today with you guys. I'll leave it there.
Cool. Let's flip to, there we go. Now we're in equal screen sharing mode. Look at that fancy tech. I know what I want to start with now. Both of you said you love being in your bodies, and I can't relate. So, like that sounds outrageous to me currently. So I wonder if that's a 14 thing. Certainly,
I think that's a 46 thing, and you got 46.
Right in Pluto, which from what I understand is a lifelong kind of lesson on that one.
Yeah.
So, and I've had painful experiences in my body like early on that maybe that's I never trusted it. And actually in the last 18 months, I'd say I actually feel like my higher self and my mental self and my body I can feel the difference between all three, if that makes sense. And that's been new for me. maybe that's not new for others. So that kind of awareness seems to be coming online for me, and it's very, very uncomfortable at times. So maybe that'd be a discussion I'd be interested in having today, anyways.
I'd be curious to see. So Carla being a defined sacral and me being an undefined sacral, I think is a really cool perspective that we have here too on carrying this gate 14. Because for me, I don't think I have as many words to probably describe it. I'm guessing as Carla would, especially because of the line of work you've been in. There's so much body wisdom associated with the jobs that you've had in your life and the careers you've had. And I know you're just a senses person, right? But whereas for me, it has felt really just like in the silliest ways, I would say. Like I've traveled since I was really young with my folks. We were always going to different countries, and like eating different foods is like super fun to me. That's what I mean by like I love being in my body. Like I love that we get to like eat different foods, and I love that we get to like dance and hug and touch each other, and that kind of thing is more like what I feel when I say that. And that's probably because 46 is my main sun gate. I'm just that like that thing, right? It's not like think about it. Who's that? I'm like, who's this? That's me.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you pointed that out. 46 is your sun gate.
Main
Yeah,
sun.
maybe we're gonna be talking about the body a bit today then, for sure. Maybe more so than the 14.
And I have 46 3 times in my design too. It's not just my sun, it's my, Jupiters and stuff. Three times I think I have it, or 4. I don't know.
3.
Yeah. So it's definitely being in the body feels very normal to me. It feels like the thing I'm here to do. It's not like I wouldn't say I'm educated about it in the same way that Carla is. That's what I see, like kind of.
You mean the gate or the experience?
The experience, like we both kind of said the same thing, but I think it comes from very different, I don't know, places. Like I feel like mine is does Carla, do you have 40? I know you're the 29, but do you have the whole channel?
Yeah. Yeah, I have 46 and I have 46 3 times as well.
You do? Okay. Our charts are similar. We're born a month apart on the same year. There's a lot of similarities in our stuff. So it's super cool that you picked us to have this combo all together, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say the one thing, in the last year, everything has been lining up as far as when I need the information. So I'm glad we're meeting today.
Yeah.
So, as I said before we got started, like the morning started great, and then everything went sideways, and then everything went kind of offline, and now here we are talking about the 46 and the 2, and getting to just talk about this stuff, because it's been very alienating for me and the rest of my family as well. So it's actually just nice to relate with people that get this.
Mm-hmm.
What this is all about. All right, well then let's talk about 46 for a second. And I'll preface that by saying I don't know anything about human design, really, other than I do pattern matching by talking to other people. I think I've had at least 15 readings, as well as lots of conversations like this. And so I collect patterns from when people tell me about it. I think I probably own every design book, and I'm not even sure if I've opened the cover. Like it arrives, and I'm like, oh, cool. We should look at that sometime. So, but my understanding of 46 is, and it's the question I ask anyone that I meet that's got it, or I sort of just look them in the eyes and say, like, you'll do the right thing even if it hurts. That's always been something that, like, as soon as I say that to someone, they just kind of like blink, like they know what that means in their life. So I don't know. Does that resonate for you at all? And I don't even remember where I heard that. Well, it's not that. It was either 46 or the whole channel. But this concept of you'll do the right thing even if it hurts.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said about having the entire channel and having the commitment to persevere, to discover. Like you really are just going to ride that train until you are not. And if that means that you're going to continue to show up with the commitment and push through and persevere to the depths, whether it's the depths of despair or it's the depths of the most beautiful experience you've ever had in your life, like you don't know until it's over. and that's part of the discovery process. Yeah, that feels a lot like what you mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, like when you asked it, I didn't feel immediate resonance with it. And then my immediate thing was, yeah, but like right according to me, like I will do the right thing to like, but right according to me, I don't know if that means it's right, but to me, it feels like it is like a right thing. And I think that probably does have something to do with like it being in Jupiter and Saturn too, in those placements and the body side, but when you said, Carla, when you were just saying, it's called the channel of discovery. The whole channel is called channel of discovery, right?
Yeah.
My 46, my side is pushing upward. So It's like, I mean, I definitely will also stay pushing upward if I'm like, this is what we got to do, but as a non-sacral who doesn't carry the 29, there is a limit to how long I will do the right thing for me personally. I wouldn't say that like, I'll just keep going till I discover it. Like Carla, maybe before I even need to discover it, I'm like, I'm all done here with the pushing upward because I don't have the sacral necessarily to keep saying yes, or the consistency for that matter. I'm an inconsistent bitch. So there's only, the right, do what's right. Sure. But what's right, what I think is right. Yeah.
Sean, will you show her chart real quick?
Yep, sure.
Just because I want to look at your other, so 1057.
Yeah. Right. Which is integration. And then my ego is my only motor. So that bitch only does what she wants to. So again, it's like, according to what's right, what I think is right, sure, I'll keep doing that. That's resonant. But like, I don't know that I would relate to that statement fully. That would be my answer.
Do you, Sean?
For sure, but I think maybe you reminded me, Carla, that it's the channel. It's something with the having the whole channel.
Okay.
Yeah, I stick through to everything. I'm not the one to pull the plug on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about some of the readings I've had, it's almost been described to me like I'm incapable of doing that. And it kind of seems like that. So when I have gotten out of things, it's almost like I had to be clever about it. So the other person took care of the business.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to me, that tracks too. I think as sacrals in general, what I've perceived from my little projector eyeballs over here is that you guys stay doing stuff longer because you can. So you do. I mean, you guys get that shaft all the time. And, that's part of the, I think, process for you all is figuring out what you actually do want to stay committed to, because you have the ability to stay committed to things. Like first off, and like baseline, you have that ability to have commitment to things. That's what makes you beautiful and you can create for that reason. You know what I mean? Whereas I don't have that baseline. There is not the baseline of staying committed, staying consistent. I don't have that constant response that you guys have. It's like a battery, always kind of like ready, like for the next thing to like come in. Mine is like on idle till I'm like around one of y'all or like something. And then I'm like, oh, cool, I'm ready. I didn't even know, so it's different. I think baseline.
Do you think it's the need for the 29 to have that, or it's just that you don't have the sacral period, so you don't have that energetic? Like if you got the sacral defined another way.
Maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I know that it feels like I watch sacrals say yes longer, perhaps, than I watch non-sacrals say yes for. Most of the non-sacrals that I have in my life will like pull out of things or like be like whatever. Whereas the sacrals will keep going longer until they're done. There's a point when they're done too, but to me, it looks like it takes longer to get there than the non-sacral, than the manifestors and the projectors that I commune with. There's like this like ability for us to just unplug. That's what we do all the time. We're always plugged in or not, so it's like, whereas you guys are kind of like, you're plugged in all the time. So if like, you're not right, like navigating that, it just can go on and on. I feel like pretty I don't know. It looks, I was going to say effortlessly, but I know that's not true. It only looks that way from where I sit. Yeah.
And 46 is like, it's love of the body, right? And, you know, I mentioned mine's in Pluto. And when I think about, it's basically like my body has several times in my life hit me over the head with a 2x4 because I wasn't getting it. In fact, when I went to have my shamanic episode 4 years ago, that kind of broke my whole world open. Mark, the facilitator, used that. It was talking about that at the time. He wasn't referring to human design whatsoever, although his wife introduced me to Chetan's book on the Sunday after a massive MDMA and mushroom journey. So it was quite the weekend. But he basically said, you know, like life, it's kind of like gives you a little scratch in the arm. It's trying to get your attention. And then, you know, and eventually it just like hits you over the head with a 2x4. And that's what was going on for me at that time. But that, you know, I was in hospital with diverticulitis when I was like 36. And I remember being there and the doctors saying like people get that in their 70s. Like, and from what I understand though, and talking to someone recently, it's on the rise in young people. So, you know, I seem to be, and maybe it's a Sphinx thing, but like I'm kind of first to experience a lot of things. And so maybe I'm a warning of where people that don't get their shit together can end up. So, but yeah, I was laid up in bed on morphine for a week and I was septic and on, it was a rough time. And that was at 36. And they were talking about, they were talking about taking my kidneys out and they thought the lung was coming out. And then at the end of the day, it was just shat myself for a week and went home. So it was fine.
That's wild. My mom has diverticulitis. Never, ever has it ever been that bad, though. And that's what I know about that, I don't know what to call it, disease, syndrome, whatever, that it can, like, go from, like, that. Or, like, you're like my mom, who's, like, just if she eats the wrong thing, she's just, like, has stomach pains for a while. But they did end up taking her gallbladder out, I think, related to that. But something interesting that is coming up for me, Carla and I, like I said, we were getting to know each other as friends and voice noting back and forth, and we're both 4 lines, so those are long ass voice notes that we'd be sending back and forth, and we're girls, you know, we'd be gabbing, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things that came up in a story that she was telling me was about how I don't want to say too much about your life, Carla, without your permission, so I'll just put it into my life. What it made me realize is that my main sun gate 46 is Amy, my podcast co-host's Plutos, like you, Sean. Like I told you, Amy and you have the same Plutos. So 46 Plutos, and I'm a 46 sun. Something that Carla has taught me, I think, in one of your, I don't know if you came up with this, Carla, or like if you learned it somewhere, but I think it makes so much sense, is that people with the main sun gate, that's the same as your Pluto, so like me and you, Sean, perhaps there's something that I'm here to show you that can help you reformulate or learn your lifelong lessons around that 46, around that Pluto. Perhaps it's like a fresher thought than the one that you came in with or something like that. Like, and I see this with Amy and I. Amy has a lot of, and I can talk about her life because again, we have over 100 episodes where we both talk about our lives very openly, but she has a lot of eating stuff, food stuff, body stuff, that she has dealt with her whole fucking life. She says it on our podcast all the time, 35-year recovering binge eater. She's a person that has really dealt with body issues. Now, I'm not saying I'm not, okay? Of course I have. But it's not been my whole life. You know, it was a few years when I was a teenager, and then I was done with that part of my life. And then particularly after I had a kid, I'm like, this body is the shit. Like it stopped being about what I look like, you know, and that's what a lot of that was about for me. And now it's just like, dude, I am so comfortable in my body. And this is not like the thinnest or the whateverest I've ever been, but I feel so good in this body. And that for me has been my journey. But like, I'm 44, I'm only halfway done my life. And that feels done to me. Whereas like for Amy, that's not a done thing for her. That's something she's still kind of, so this idea that Carla kind of showed me, that like if you find somebody and your Pluto's and your sun gate is like, because if you think about it, it made so much sense to me. Carla's very brilliant, not just in the senses and stuff, but she's also really she pointed out, look at my spleen. I didn't even notice this. She's like, one of the first things she said to me, she's like, you're a pretty intense person, huh, Monique? And I'm like, geez, why would you, like, that's so interesting. Why would she say that? We had barely voice noted, da 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 da. She's like, well, your spleen is like fully conscious. So I'm assuming that it's your inner dialogue probably feels pretty intense, almost like always on alert. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so right. It's just like, I joke and say, she's like, sound the alarm, sound the alarm, sound the alarm. Like, that's basically what it's like all the time in there. And again, you're very brilliant to point that out. And this whole Pluto sun link thing, also brilliant.
So what do you mean by your spleen is highly conscious? Is that the 5710, or is it the heart to stomach connection?
Right.
So it's more of the fact that there are as many conscious activations as there are in her spleen.
Lots of black.
Yeah, the only life force frequency that she has that's fully conscious there is the 4426, because the 1057 is going to effectively act unconscious, right? As a full channel. But just the definition of the spleen itself, like there's so much conscious activation there. And I just thought that it was interesting and
accurate.
Definitely would inform her behavior in the way that she is navigating life. So
that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the 57, Carla?
No. I have 2 gates activated in my undefined spleen.
Sorry, I have to keep switching screens to do that part, so it takes a second. And then I get lost, and then the stupid thing doesn't respond, and it's back. So, Damn, you said something earlier, Monique. I wanted to...
Well, the Pluto-Sun connection, was it that? No.
Yes, it was.
Because, I would love for Carla to speak more on that, because it was a very brilliant thing, but it's made me really think, because the other bananas thing is that I have 32. Carla and I both have 32 as our Plutos. Again, we were born a month apart on the same year, but my daughter's main sun gate is 32. And so after you told me this, I was like, God, shit, she's here to fucking teach me something about 32. That makes so much sense to me. And my mother has the full channel, the 3254. So like, I probably came into this world with things about 32 that came from my mother, and then I had a kid with a main sun gate 32 who's here to teach me new things about 32. I was like, holy shit, Carla cracked a code. And like in my what the fuck? That's brilliant. Like, I'm pretty sure that, so I would love to hear more of what you have to say about that.
Okay, so first of all, it's not like any particular thing that I learned. It was just something that I started to also pattern recognition, pay attention to, primarily because the same thing that you just said about your daughter and your mom, my oldest son, his personality sun gate is 21, as is my mother's, right?
Mm-hmm.
They share the same birthday. I had my son on my mom's birthday. And so they've got the same sun gate. And it was just a thing for me to start paying attention to in the context of like, what is that teaching me? What, like that experience? Because I have 45, right? I have 45. I don't have 21. It's pointing at an undefined ego. How is it that these two people with this sun 21 that are influential people in my life, what have I learned around the 21 about control, right? So that started on the rabbit hole, if you will, of just looking at how it is that we fix each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you can see that when you are looking at a body graph and you're looking at like a composite chart where it's 2 people, you can start to see how you're fixed in particular ways in relationship with that person. And then when you just start layering on what those planetary meanings are, what the energetic frequency is, you can start to kind of build a story around that, So like, our sun gate is what we are here to shine, right? Pluto it's all about birth, death, transformation, right? All of the lifelong lessons you're learning over and over again in time. And so when you start looking at how it is that those relationship dynamics work, it's just something that for me has brought an additional layer into reading charts. So, and it seems to check out because the different experiences that I've had where, again, 29 sun, and I've got a neighbor who has 29 as his Pluto's, and he does not want to take no for an answer, but good God almighty, I am telling him no over and over again in a multitude of ways for all the things. And he's having to learn at his age what that kind of boundary means. Right. So it's just interesting to, like, again, just watch the energetics play out in that way. So yeah. Tangent.
No. I've I had to grab my notebook because this is the only way I'm going to remember my things to ask. One thing, I'm going to bring up my chart for a second here.
Yeah, please do.
So I've got the 46 in Pluto. What this chart doesn't show is that my Chiron is 21-1. And I didn't really have any relation to that whatsoever. And you can see I got a big old open heart. So that little thing doesn't even show up on the body map or the body graph, right? So that fucker has been a doozy. And when it was in transit like 2 weeks ago, there was all sorts of stuff that was starting to make complete sense. And that idea of control. And then, Carla, I think it was you that just said, I don't know if you used the word trying to fix everyone or something to that effect.
Well, fixing is like an aspect where the energy will fix something in your chart to where you're only able to experience either the exaltation or the detriment, or like you feel the energy very specifically because it's being fixed. That's what I meant by fixed.
Interesting, because I've also had said to me in the last year, like, you always fix everyone's problems and they don't ask, and so maybe that's not the 21, but there's something about that open heart and control and needing to be valued or loved by fixing everything. And in the last little while, I realized that people don't get into arguments around me because I'm already diffusing the situation and solving everything and making everything. I was making everything my business so that nobody got hurt. And then I would always be. It would never work out well for me in the end. So it was pointless. And for the longest time, I don't think I correlated it to 21 or this, but I just kept saying, like, I gotta be more like Batman, not Superman. Superman flies in and fixes everything unasked. Like, he just appears, deals with it and leaves. And he'll, I don't know if you ever saw, I think it was Superman 3, where he flew around a planet in reverse to turn back time to save Lois Lane because she was dead, which is completely unrealistic. Whereas Batman just like hangs out in his manor and waits for someone to put up the bat signal, and then he goes and zips in and zips out, and he's got cool tools. So I've like really had to make it that simple for me in the last couple of years, because I was interfering, not ever being aware I was even doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that fifth line body constantly being projected on, that you have the practical solutions and answers and can solve the problem. And I would think that with as many penta channels as you have and all of the integration circuitry, there you are a very unique individual in the context of, this is how we're going to fix this thing. Come on, Penta. This is the direction we need to go as your Sphinx. And I think maybe the 21 in Chiron, that just feels very much like it's, going to be that opportunity for you to heal the wound around, your solutions, your problem solving. Nobody's going to put out the bat signal for you unless you're really just thriving in your own energy first and you're waiting for something to respond to.
Mm. Well, and I don't think I knew what my own energy was until very recently, like being forced into being alone, like in a different country on my own. I had I had a chat with Barbara Ditlow last year, and she talked about like, where's Sean? Where is he? Like he's not actually here. I would just absorb. I would just like get lost in other people, which I always understood was more like having an open G center. That was more a common place for that. So I either misunderstood that or just assumed that it couldn't be with such a packed self center.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a heavily defined G center, and it's also where your cross is. So it's like everything, right? 70% of your energy is about showing up with this love, identity, and direction. And also you're a third line, like it's about you. Does that make sense? Like it's still it's a right angle cross. So you get the opportunity to learn it for you.
Yeah, I think I'm finally starting to get that, but it took to age 54 to have any idea that was my trip. So I've been fighting it the whole way, apparently.
I wonder if that's what some of that like want for the 14 is, because it's your design earth, the 2. Mm-hmm. Your body's looking to ground.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that tracks, I'd say.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the 14, because that was the whole point. We could bounce around all over the place, but please describe to me what the 14 means to each of you. Just even describe by name what you've experienced, what others might say, and then and then when that lines up with the 2, what is that? Do either of you have the 2? I can't remember.
I have the 2.
Carla does. Yeah. It's cool because Carla has the whole channel. You have the 2, Sean, and I have the 14. So you really set this up very beautifully, in my opinion, the way I'm seeing it all play out. I know you didn't like strategically do that, which is even more beautiful, I think, to me personally, to witness that unfold. But like, geez, nailed it. Fucking nailed it.
Well, I'm just going to tell a quick story because it's popped in my head twice now, and I've learned to trust that. But I have these kind of experiences where things lately happen, and it's like the only way to describe it be synchronous or perfect timing. Monique, do you know I'm friends with Dr. Eleanor Carla? I don't know if you know who she is or her work, but I basically refer to her as my spiritual teacher and my second mom. Like, she's been amazing for me. There has been 2 different occasions where she's mentioned a book, and we're in like having a video call or whatever, and I had forgotten about it. She's referring to, actually, I didn't even know what she was referring to. But I had ordered the book the week before, and it arrived via Amazon during our call. Twice this has happened. Right? Like, there was just like, well, that was very interesting and convenient. Like, really, really synchronous events. So I'm going to take that this conversation is about the 46 and the 14, and the fact that Monique, you're here with us as well, I think is pretty cool, because it really just started with Carla, dude, I want to, my nose is working again, and this 14 is I think is important, and that was quite literally all I needed as a catalyst to start doing this podcast again and just having chats with people. So, anyways, who did I cut off? Because I was like, had to get that out, but it was you, Monique, wasn't it? Yeah.
I mean, right place, right time is 46 stuff. So I think it's right on point. I don't know if that's 14 stuff too, but I'll just say this. When I was first learning design, I did not go a conventional way because I don't do anything conventional, really, it feels like. But I learned from two projectors named Dana and Shayna from De Luna. They're not like certified people in the human design world. They're just fucking projectors that did their own thing in their way. And what they neither one of them had 14, but I've been on 2 retreats with these girls. I've learned a lot from them. They're brilliant. They're one's a 2-4. No, they're both 2-4s. Self-projector, projector, emotional projector. I think one of them has the 2. Maybe they both have the 2. They don't have the 14. And they said something similar to like what you were saying at the start of this, Sean, where you kind of said like that you almost like are scanning charts for people that have the 14. Like they kind of had that same kind of thing going on, which was the first time I had ever like, it's my one and only sacral activation. So I was like, oh my God, I'm special. Wait, say more. Please tell me more, said the defined ego personal view person. And they did. And they said that they call it like a lucky charm gate, that these people tend to draw in resources and things like that. And that was kind of the only time I really heard it referred to as that. After that, I didn't really relate to it. I'm like, I don't know, power skills. I don't know. Like, but what I did start to realize is that, you know, I am a person that if I am just following my like inner, like Carla pointed out, I have the 1057, my inner working, my inner clock, I'm usually at the right place at the right time. And I'm usually around the right people. And then there's stuff in my design that points towards that being correct for me. But there's also this thing that makes it look like I wasn't really trying, but there's this all like underlining stuff I've been doing or like nurturing something to like have gotten it there. So it really isn't like total serendipity. Like I've nurtured relationships with both of you. That's why you were both comfortable inviting me onto this. That's like backstage work that I've been doing. I mean, that to some people, not for me, I'm a 4-line. I love that shit. But like, it could also look to somebody on the outside like, oh, this bitch just got invited to fucking join this conversation. She didn't do shit to get here. Like, she didn't know about oils or anything. You know what I mean? Like, there's this perception of me where it's like, oh, that's so easy. But it's like, wait a minute, though. I've been voice noting with you two, putting in time and love and all that shit in, which is why I was like invited to the party or whatever. But people, you know, so that's what I have to say about 14. That's my only understanding of it. I don't have an understanding of it. That's why I'm very excited to be involved in this combo because I feel like Carla's got. I also find that people with the 214 will condition me immediately, like immediately. It's like I basically fell in love with Carla immediately. I was like, I like you so much. Like, let's be friends, please. It's a very conditioning channel for me. And I don't know if that's related to the fixedness that you were talking about, but I experienced that with Nick, my friend that was also at the conference, who carries this channel as well. Nick also carries the 360, which I have a hanging 60 also. That bitch was conditioning me left and right. And then later on, I would be like, holy fuck, like what? That's not even me, you know? So I will say I'm excited to be conditioned by yours right now, Carla. So ready to hear what you have to say.
Okay. So as you can see, I have 5 channels. 4 of them are collective. And the 214 is individual. I have 0 tribal channels. Not that I'm not tribal, like there's a lot of tribal tendencies in my chart, and there's a lot of potential wisdom around what a tribe is in my chart. But the 214 being the only individual frequency that I carry when so much of my life force energy is collective. I have learned that I am somebody who will kind of get carried into experience and life and all the things, right? And you know, the 2 collective channels with my mind, like people want to hear the things that I have to say and what I think about things, and it's very much this like there's a collective nature to everything that I do. However, when I butt up against something that really just does not feel right, correct, good for me, right? That individual channel is like, no, You're not going to go that way. You're not going to do it that way. You are going to do things the way that you need to do them, the way that you want. You're going to move to the beat of your own drum, right? The 214 is the beat. It is the driver, right? It's the key and the ignition. It is the thing that makes you go vroom, right? Like it really is something that I've started to really truly appreciate when it comes to response very specifically. Because as you can see, one is completely conscious and the other one is unconscious. So for me, my 2946, there will be something that will excite me where I'm like, yes, that sounds awesome. I want to see what that's about. I want to put my energy towards that. And then there's this part of me that is very like, there is no response. There's no, like, it's very much a mind yes versus a sacral yes. And I've started to really clue into when it's both, like when I have both the visceral feeling of 214 of like that's the direction that I need to go, as well as the 2946 of this like pushing up of energy that's like, yes, that's the thing that I want to do, right? So there's that, okay, that piece. Quite often the response will feel like a click in my chest when it's a 214 moment. And I've started to track when I feel that, that is very much when my direction in life will actually change. Like the individual pulse of like, nope, you're going this direction now. So that's been really interesting to track. And then, I mean, the 14, I have it obviously in Uranus. I share that with Monique on both sides, but then it's also my design moon and it is my design earth. And so the way that my body feels grounded, right? It's very important in that context, my brain, how my brain is functioning, who's pulling out of my brain, right? Like being right brain, left mind, I can pull out of my own brain, but it also matters who I'm around and who I'm in relationship with, who's in my network as a fourth line body, for my brain to really be able to like feel like it's being juiced, if you will, right? So that's another way that I experience the 14, and that has everything to do with the accumulation of resources, right? I have so many books on the things that I love, and I crack them open. I read them from cover to cover, and then I go back and cruise through them the other direction, and then I will randomly open them and read them just wherever the page lands, kind of a thing, right? But when there's something that really pulls my interest, my desire, my drive, and something else that we share, Sean, I don't know if you've paid attention to or not yet, we both have power view and desire motivation. And so that feeling of like being locked in to something, that is also a part of the 14 that I've experienced as well, because it's so fixed, especially the fourth line. The 14-4 is a very fixed energy. Like I want to put all of my power into one direction, one thing. And so when my life is pulling me in different directions and I'm giving my energy to a lot of things that are not what I want to be putting my energy into, that's when I feel compromise. And you know, if you're familiar with Gene Keys at all, that's a keynote from there, right? Compromise is the shadow of 14. And so, yeah, 14 is, you collect all the resources, you get all the resources, you have all of the resources. What are resources? A lot of different things, but what do all of those things give you? Power. And what do you do with that power? You go a particular direction. You release the power to go in a particular direction.
I mean, I think that's why I've been interested in this gate. I think I kind of understood that, and I didn't have like the go-go juice, stamina. Plus, just it's been a really difficult year that it's taken every ounce of energy to just get out of bed at times. And you know, you said you feel like a click. There's no, I don't even feel a sacral response. After 4 years, I can say 5 years. When people talk about it doesn't happen for me.
Well, you have the 2034, so it would. I don't think you would necessarily have that. It would be more of just what tears you out of your chair. Like what are you just up and going and doing? Because that's the response.
I mean, it's happened. But not very often. And when it did, I'll give you an example. But 6 weeks ago, I was living with my parents for about 5 weeks, waking up every morning watching Price is Right, and then closing the day off with Jeopardy and the news. And, you know, it was lovely hanging with them, but it was also, you know, I'm a grown man back living with my parents, struggling. And there was just one day where it was like, I said to my mom, probably at 11 in the morning, like, I think it's time to go somewhere. I need to go be in the heat, because they're in Victoria and it was March. It was cold. It was wet and rainy. And by, what was that, about 11 o'clock? By 1 o'clock, I had bought a flight. And by 8 o'clock, I was on the plane and flying to Mexico. And I had put off so many things. Like I was supposed to pack or clean up all my stuff. I got so much accomplished in 3 hours. Like it was a tornado, and it was the kind of, like, when people say, "Oh, you must just get so much shit done." I haven't got anything done in a year, and then like 3 hours, I probably accomplished more than some do in 2 weeks. So, but there was no click. It was just, I gotta go, and I couldn't explain it, and trying to, you know, explain it to my parents, like, went from helping them wash the dishes and loading firewood into the fireplace every night to like vanishing with like a dust. So maybe that's that 3420, but it wasn't. It didn't feel like how people described as sacral. It was just a whoosh, and I was gone. And then I, of course, felt terrible because I just kind of like skipped down on them after, you know, they were getting accustomed to having the dishes washed before they even got in the kitchen and stuff. So I was being a good son. They told me I was a good house guest.
You were a good son, and you were being a good son, and you were also, this is exactly what I see. Well, that's what I was describing. You sacrals will just keep doing things because you can. It's a perfect example. Like, because you felt bad, then you disappeared. Like, 3420s disappear all the fucking time. Every 3420 in my life, it's like they're here and then they're gone. They're doing something. And then and I think that the not relating to the sacral response is super 3420. Most of the people I know that have that channel don't relate to that. And Carla's a generator. That's so different. That's way slower and emotional. She has time to feel a click.
And I'm a triple split. I'm super fucking slow.
Yeah, 2-4 and a 2-4. There's a discernment here. Like, Sean, you're a 3-5 MG with the full integration circuitry quad left. You're like, boom, go. Like Carla said, what tears you out of your chair? That's a great, I'm going to use that in my readings for 3420 MGs. That's the best way I've ever heard it put. Told you, your secret little brilliant mind in there, Carla. I can't wait to learn more. That's a really awesome way to put it, I think. Like, what tears you out of your chair? Because who has time for a response? 3420.
I mean, my dad has 3420. He's got 6124 as well. So he's split from his head and ajna to his throat and sacral thing happening, right? And he will literally say, aha, and then out of his chair, and he just walks away. And I'm like, the fuck?
Where'd you go?
Okay. So yeah, 3420. And you wouldn't, the click that I'm referring to, like, I feel like that is the 214 specifically for me, because it is unconscious and it does feel like still a rise up of energy, but it feels like a centering, like a click in my chest. The 2946 is a little bit different. It's still a rising up of energy, but it's not this unconscious body thing that's occurring. You know what I mean? There's still like somatic awareness around like feeling the rising up of energy, but it's not the same. It feels, those two channels feel very different to me. So I wouldn't think that you would have, something really tangible to lean into as far as like a sacral response is concerned, other than you just feeling like you need to go a different direction and you get up out of your chair and you fucking go.
Which you've been doing a lot, Sean. I think that's, and I've told you that you've been very brave the way you've been moving through your life. I think you've just been listening to your body and then moving, and that affects, that can hurt people's feelings, that can make people feel uncomfortable, all of those things, and you've still been doing that. So yeah. And I also love how you said that though, Carla, the clicking in the chest, because as someone with a hanging 14, I can tell you it's almost like I'm searching for that click in the chest. It's like, I think I know where I'm going. I think I know where I'm going, but like, where's my driver? Because I need one. Like, I don't know where I'm going. Like that click feel, like that's what it felt like to me when I heard you say that. So that's very cool to hear.
Yeah, I appreciate that as well. Like the,
where's your 34?
My 34?
Oh, it's in Neptune.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you got to explain that, cackle. What's that about?
Sorry. Okay. I fucking see, this is where I nerd out on design because I love it. Whatever's in Neptune is going to feel elusive, right? You'll tend to chase it and think that you need to have it. It's the gate of power. And you not having 14 and thinking that you have accumulated the power and accumulated the resources, right? So you're looking to understand power, but it's really just Neptune kind of throwing a veil over what power actually is. And it being a part of your sacral response, you might also not feel that in that same way because it's Neptune. You're going to always chase, like, is this the feeling? Is this what it feels like? Is that what it, so yeah, just kind of also fun to look at it in that context too. And I mean, it is integration circuitry. So have you started to differentiate or parse out what those different channels feel like in your lived experience? Or is it all kind of meshed in one thing?
Well, as I said, I'm not very studious, and I have 10 channels. So there's, people have commented on how many there are, and they ask me what it's like, and I'm like, I have no idea how to drive this thing. Like, people are like, oh, it's my such and such channel, and what a bitch that was. And I'm like, you've got one to deal with? Like, I just don't understand. But also what you said there, like, I think with that 36 coming out of the solar plexus, which seems to be about new experiences, it's been a hot mess. And this is all, like, thank you, Monique. Like, the last year has been, or 8 months especially, has been just chaotic. But like, that wasn't really my life before. So I was obviously either not living correctly at all, which is why my body was constantly punishing me. I mean, I used to be 309 pounds and had stomach surgery, and then that led to the gallbladder out, and the diverticulitis was separate. And I hated my body, or my body hated me. I think actually that's what it felt like, and there still seems to be a bit of a disconnect. I've really gotten into like lean testing and muscle testing and like anything to just try to be like, what do I want? I find I have arguments with myself at grocery stores about, what to buy, or, whether I should have a drink or not. And it's constant. It's still going on, which is, consumes a lot of bandwidth for some reason. So with the 4629, that at the very least, there's a sacral response there, isn't there? Like it sounds like the 214 is more, like you said, I think you were saying, like, it's fuel, it's go juice, I suppose. But 2649 is not really that.
the 2946 still has I still feel the energy like rise up. It just feels, I think, different in my body because it's more conscious. It's a completely conscious channel. And then I also have 46 unconscious, right? So there's still like an aspect of like feeling actual energy rise in my body. But there's also this mental awareness around the yes, right? Around the commitment and the perseverance and what that's going to take and what, you know, the experience could lead to potentially and all of those things, right? Like who knows, because it's, you'll never know until it's done, but there is still a rising up of energy that I feel. I would be curious, you know, if you, again, it's going to happen so quickly because you're a sacral MG with the 2034. But I would think if there is something that you've not yet experienced that you want to experience, that would have the potential of pulling you out of your chair a little bit quicker. Right? Like if you have something to frame your experience around where you're like, oh yeah, I've been there, done that. I don't need to do that again. You know, there's not going to be as much drive to like get you up out of your chair. There won't be that resounding yes commitment to persevere in a particular direction. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming, I don't know, you tell me.
I mean, what came to mind is I have many interests that I want to do and be, so I was about to say powerful at. You know, I would love to be a great pickleballer and make that a career, but I'd also love to be on big stages as a drummer, and I'd also like to build an energy work business, and what I'm doing is none of those things in a quality way lately, and I've been, even just in the last couple of weeks, realizing that just completely unrealistic ideas of what I can actually accomplish with you used the word resources earlier, and that kind of clicked for me as well. I just don't have the resources to do what I want right now, and so it's super frustrating. And I had everything at one point. Like I had everything I needed, but it was just with the wrong people at the wrong place, the wrong time, and then it all just kind of like completely fell away. And it's just been a free fall for about 8 years. So super challenging.
Do you feel like you've been truthful with yourself around what you've been experiencing?
I think so lately. I don't think I knew myself whatsoever before. I think I've had some early experiences that just set me on a trajectory that was, I was doing everything for everyone else everywhere. I even came to the conclusion when I had my IT company. I had 20 employees at one point. I was doing everybody's job for them. You know, I was basically covering their asses all the time, and it till it broke me. Yeah, so it's been a lot of just getting back to me. Yeah. So I'm optimistic about the future, but I'm still a little worn out and delicate. But that shamanic weekend was within 2 weeks of my Chiron return as well.
Okay.
Like that's actually kind of what really got me digging into design, because in that weekend a lot of things happened, as I mentioned, and so the human design thing was just kind of like a question at the end that kind of perked my ears up.
Oh wow! And you had the cross of the unexpected as your Chiron.
Was it? Okay, perfect.
Well, that's fun.
The cross thing's interesting. We could talk about that for a second. I mean, I got this Sphinx thing. Of course, I had the unexpected. I hadn't noticed that before. The apex of my second Saturn return is right around the time that the 2027 shift happens. and my cross will be the cross of planning. So as the world switching to Phoenix, this quad left is going cross of planning. So yeah. So I don't know. I feel like this meat suit is I don't know, here to demonstrate how not to do things, which has kind of been that 3-5 experience.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating. It comes with a lot of humility. I grew, the one thing I heard about the 3-5, like Ra had said, was a lot of them were burned at the stake, and a lot of their parents were given steak sauce, instead of the instructions. So, my parents are lovely, but I was just, I think it was, yeah, I'm not sure people were ready for me at the time. So I ended up being just a very sensitive soul that got not programmed, just got into a trajectory that wasn't mine way, way early.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like unpacking all that still. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you feel like through what you experienced with your Chiron return, do you feel like you have some clarity around what it means to be a leader and how you want to be a leader?
That's an interesting question. I get. I used to lead with ease before. I could deal with anything.
Okay.
I'd walked into situations. I walked into a boardroom once where I thought I was meeting with one person to have a half-hour chat, and as I walked in, they're like, "Oh, Sean's here, and he's going to teach a class on such and such," and there's 24 people in there, and I didn't even panic. I didn't have time to panic, so I just did it. I've just had experiences like that, and for whatever reason, I guess I could handle that, but I don't. And now that you say that, like this whole 21 thing about control, I think I was taking on leadership roles or saw leadership as crisis management, even when I was uninvited. And the first time I really was testing that was again at my parents' house 6 weeks ago, where they would have arguments, and because I was kind of exploring this idea of like don't get involved if you're not asked, I would just let them argue, and it was incredibly uncomfortable at first because I don't know how I even disrupted or diffused the situation. I don't remember ever intentionally doing it. It was just what I did, and so when I didn't, to just sort of sit there and let them burn out, and then everybody was fine, and I didn't have to do anything. So it's really been about like do less, and truly wait to be asked.
That sounds like solar plexus wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can actually feel my feelings now. That was not something I could do even 3 months ago. I thought I understood what things felt like in my body, and I didn't, as far as a feeling. And now I'm super sensitive at the moment, so I'm still kind of getting used to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Monique, I have a question for you because we have 60 in our nodes.
Yep.
What are you noticing right now about the acceptance of limitation?
So much. So much. It's been one of the bigger themes, I would say, in my life over the last, since Uranus opposition times. Where are my limits? I think I've come a long way in the acceptance of my limitations. I think that had you asked me this question a few years ago, I would have been like, I don't know or whatever. But I've through like living a little bit more true to myself, I feel like, and experimenting in ways that feel true for me in my life. Like even if that looks fucking crazy or weird or wacky, I've learned a lot of my limits and where they are and where I'm okay with the ones and where I'm not okay with some of them still. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting because it's 60.6, right, that we both have.
Mhm.
And so I quite often feel like I'm looking for the role model, right? Like who has
Mhm.
done this shit that I can actually learn from so that I don't have to feel like things are so chaotic, right?
Mhm.
And the only reason I'm even bringing this into the conversation is because, Sean, you have the 3.
Mhm.
So we have that mutative
Mhm.
force, right now and the sun is in 3-6 today.
Mhm.
So it feels like a very, again, synchronistic conversation around like just how have we transcended limitation through acceptance?
Yeah.
Where is it that we've really been able to, see what the best way is to do it, and then how I say the best just because of power view, but like innocence view would be, or personal view would be very like, best way to do this is really just to focus on it from my perspective.
I know. Yeah, you're hitting on a lot of things, which, you guys both being desire, motivation, power view people, that's like, oh my God, they know everything. That's what I look at you people like that's what my personal view, innocence, motivation asks. Oh my God, they get it. They fucking can read the room. They get what people are doing. They're strategic. They fucking know who's in power and who's not. My ass never feels like I know those things. And when I was trying to like know those things, it would fuck me up even more. It would pull me way far out of my own self. Right. And so now I've really leaned into this acceptance of like, that's not my trip. And what you just said is true. The best way for me to like help the collective, be of service, any of those things that the Virgo in me really fucking wants to do is for me to be more self-absorbed in my process and not worry about what the fuck other people know or don't know or who's better at it than me or blah blah blah. But like that's a big acceptance of a limitation that I have. I do not have that viewpoint ever. I've never walked into a room, scanned it, and been like, I know who the fuck is who here ever. And I think you guys do that all the time. I mean, even my kid who is also innocence motivation like me, but has power view, a personal view, can stand a fucking room better than me. My personal view is not here for that. It's very much like this. And it's my one left arrow in my design too. So it's like the one place that I'm like focused is in my own view. So it's like, I'm really here to just do that. And then by doing that, yeah, my time, I'm a gate 60 and an undefined root. Again, a cool difference that Carla and I have, because Carla, you're a hanging 60 and a defined root, so you understand time. How cool for you. Whereas I do not. So my 60, one of my biggest, hardest wounds, I was just crying about it earlier today, is time management and how shitty I am at it. And what that causes in my relationships with people, because it's been a big fucking problem in my life. It's a thing that always tends to come up, right? The timing, because I get it. People that are on time perceive people like me that are always late as like, I must not care about your time. I must not respect you or value your time because I'm fucking out here dicking off or whatever, and I can't be anywhere on time, right? I have time management. I'm not even going to call them issues anymore. I have time management challenges. I have a different relationship with time. That's one of my new favorite ways to say it. And that is an acceptance thing that I constantly go through with myself. And guess what I think I need to be better at it? Ordering. Gate 3. That's ordering. That's the gate that knows how to put shit in order, which I don't. And I think I always have thought, oh, if I was more orderly, I would be more timely. Probably not. Probably not. But yeah, so like that, me being able to be a co-founder of this conference experience and be late on some of the days. Like I was late to my own conference, guys. That is a thing that a past version of me would have made myself feel very shit about. And parts of me still did. It came up, and then I remembered that I'm here to be an example that looks different than a lot of other people. I'm here to be the example that, hey, you could be late and still throw a conference if you want. It's totally possible. I just did it. So I'm here to be that example. And like that is an acceptance of a limitation that I have really worked through, is the time one. So that's the example that I'll give.
I'm curious, Sean, how you feel about time and your relationship to it and accepting limitation.
Me too. I'm curious too.
Well, a bunch of things came to mind. I mean, time's shifting for me a lot. One thing I was going to say about the 46 earlier is right around that Chiron, I started saying to people I wanted to live to 150, if not 300. And it changed how I treated my body. Like I have been in a pursuit of cultivating chi like a motherfucker. Like I got my wiggle board and my tuning forks, and I've been doing somatic shit like bananas. My body is not the same vessel that it once was, and I have times where I would just rather sit and hum, like my body's just humming. I don't know if that correlates to time, but something about that Chiron return and all the things that happened, that it was like, I'm going to prove that this is possible. Because I believe that humans used to live that long and could live longer. And it's, and yeah, I don't know if that really answers your question, but
It does.
so the other part of that though is the number of people that, because I get, it's like people are channeling things to me, and the one comment that I get from people all the time is, that time is relative, or time doesn't exist, and people keep saying that to me all the time, like it's like I'm supposed to hear that exact statement, and I'm always like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what do you mean time doesn't exist? I can see the fucking clock right over there. But that's something that I went down a rabbit hole. Like, the fact that we use digital clocks, like time is not the same. Towns used to have giant bells that rang every hour to tell you what time it was. And not only was it for time, but it was actually healing. Like the frequency from those giant bells was healing for people in those villages.
Yeah.
So like, right? Like there's so many things around that. So I'm going to stop talking about, like, why did you ask? Because,
well, okay. So I asked for a couple of reasons. First of all, it is your personality, Mars, and that is going to be a trigger for you.
time.
Not necessarily time, but I mean, it's the gate of chaos, right? So it's needing ordering at the beginning of something. So where you are at the beginning of something, I would think, especially as a Sphinx, if you're changing direction in life, you're going to move through an aspect of needing to kind of reorder things, right? To create some structure out of chaos so that you can feel empowered to move in the direction that you want to move in, right? But Mars being the trigger is just like, maybe in the past when it was in its immature aspect, it was more of this, like, you were the one kind of bringing chaos into the environment, right? And then running around like a fucking chicken with your head cut off because you have an undefined route. And so it's all this pressure and it just is creating chaos, right, in the environment, versus you being able to understand that the ordering that needs to occur starts within. And I also think that it's super interesting the way you described it as far as your body is concerned, as like a reordering of your cells, because gate 3 has a lot to do with your DNA, your cells, your genetic material. And so, yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting that that's your relationship to it. It's not so much a timing thing. I mean, it's time when there's a 360 or when you have the 60, because it's about the external pressure you're feeling and the direction that it needs to go, right? For you to be able to move through life. So we have an internal sense of time when you have a defined route versus an undefined route. I'm just curious if the 3 for you being your personality Mars, if you feel triggered, do you tend to create chaos, or have you matured in that regard to where you can just see now that you don't need to do that. You can just wait and be uncomfortable and feel the pressure and not have to do anything about it?
Yeah, I don't need to create kind of chaos because it finds me anyways, is part of it. So
As a
the
three.
number of times I've said like I can find the elephant in the room, which I think maybe is power view, but if it's
Mhm.
not there, I'll make it. Right. So like I'm my friend Tracy said something to me a couple weeks ago that she was asking like, what kind of jobs did you want to do as a kid? And I said, well, I wanted to be a pilot and a fireman. I never pursued either, really. The pilot thing a little bit. And she's like, so you like to fly in and put out fires? And I was like, that's exactly what I like to do. Like I am bored out of my mind unless there's a fire to put out. Um, I'm bored all the time. I have interests, but none of them interest me because I've done them. So it's like I get good at stuff and then I'm like, oh, fuck, what now? I don't like watching movies and I don't play parcheesi and I don't do knitting. Like I've tried them all. It's not for me. So it's pretty much like just bring me in, put out the fire, but don't. I had 4 businesses at one point, and I was still creating products within the businesses because I was bored. And for a while, I could put people on it. I could delegate, and so we were building businesses within businesses. Um, and then I just had to dismantle it all, which was that was hard through this whole process too. It was humiliating, ending 5 different businesses, and that might even be that. Is that 4629 with the idea that I started these things and
What's your
needed
29?
to complete them?
It's 29-2 assessment. Do you have 29-1 at all? Or is it just 2?
Uh,
I think it's
where
just
is
2.
the 29? It's my moon, 29-2?
Yeah.
Yeah. Design moon.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I think a lot of it has to do with the pentachannels in general, just not just the 2946, but all of them. I mean, you created 8-1 a lot of businesses that you were moving through different experiences with, that you were in a leadership position with, that you had the ability to, I'm assuming, that somewhere along the way be able to be really connected to the people that you were in relationship with these businesses. And so, I mean, that's a lot happening in those pentachannels that go a whole different direction.
COVID was really bad for me because all of a sudden I wasn't seeing people in person. So it was challenging for a bunch of reasons. One was that I started seeing myself on video and on recording and noticed that my eyes darted around. So that was new because I'd never seen that before. And then I asked people about it and they're like, oh yeah, you do that all the time. It's like, what? That was the first time I saw that. But one of the businesses I started, I was literally at the gym with my trainer, Anne, and she was struggling paying rent and she made protein balls. And like, we could start a protein ball delivery company. So we created Ballsy Foods and we had they were blue balls and Lickma balls. And we created all these things and we did that like in a week. And then she bailed and I was left with this stupid protein ball company. And then I had to close it. And it was humiliating and awful because I didn't want it in the first place. I just was solving a crisis, but she was needing to make money. I was doing fine at the time, and but I was left holding the bag, like, and that happened a bunch of times. I also did 75, I think, Make-A-Wish interviews in a year during COVID because I had already been doing that for about 5 years, and I'd done like I probably did 75 interviews over 8 years, and then I did 75 in a year or a year and a half during COVID because most Make-A-Wish interviewers are seniors and they didn't know how to operate Zoom, so they just stopped doing it. So I was taking on all this saving, right? These kids that needed to have these experiences. That completely burned me out, and then I was doing a shitty job at it. It felt terrible. It was a mess. It was a messy time.
That sounds very 36.2.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
This is also, I have to say this, or I might die if I don't, but like saying that you want to fly and run into things and put out fires and then it was just like the most 3-5 sacral MG sentence I've ever heard you like anybody say. You're like, and then I'm just immediately bored if there's not a fire. Like it's just you know, and 3-5s never think that they know anything. Like that's something I hear all the time. Like you even said it. I don't know anything about human design. Yeah, you do, Sean. But anyways, all the 3-5s I know. I mean, even Amy. You know, it's almost like because like I don't know what it is, but for me, what I've perceived is you guys learn by living. That's how you learn. Just like I learned by studying, being studious, or whatever one lines do, you learn by living and putting your hands on it. And it's like almost like one of my friends, Nicole, I love how she puts it. She's a 3-5 self-projected projector. And she says, it's almost like how one lines, like we get like, this is all I can talk about, my a one-line mind, but we get really like fascinated, right? And then I'm like, just like in, and I'm like learning about things and I have no idea why I'm learning about them, but I'm like down the hole. And then 3 lines have the same like kind of yearning for things, but not to learn like that. It's like you're trying to crack the code, but like out there. Like she says, it's like we're constantly on the search to try and crack the code. That's what 3-5s are doing all the time because you have all the solutions and you have the resiliency. So like you go live life and then you like, you know, and it's really cool to watch from this end. I don't know how it feels to be from that end because I feel like you guys feel like you're messing up a lot is what I hear you talk about. But really you're teaching us so much by learning what doesn't work and sharing those 50 unsuccessful businesses that you started by accident. I mean, also Rockstar Bingo came about because of COVID, right? Like I mean, I've told you this before. I literally think it would raise the whole vibe of the planet if everybody played Rockstar Bingo like one day a week. I really do. My 4426 genuinely believes that. I'll die on that hill. And that's not like me blowing smoke up your ass. That's just my truth. And yeah, I had to say all that before because I felt like, oh my God, I'm writing down notes. And if I don't say that, I might die. I'm also just going to let you know that I'm fading fast over here. So I might have to head out soon.
Well, it's been almost 90 minutes already and just blazing through here. So what is your time like? You got a little bit left in the tank or?
Yeah, I got a little left in my tank. I'm letting you know that now before. Oh, so look, my tablet just had 10% battery left. I'm about 10% left too. We're about the same.
How about you, Carla? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm a triple split emotional generator for a very long time.
Talking. Yeah, you should keep this combo going. It's good. You should just let my non-sacral ass be like, okay, go take a nap.
So, okay. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, where would you like to take this conversation? What you were about to.
I wanted to circle back to Melissa essential oil because that was a conversation that we had 2 years ago. And you had listed out the different things that you would want support with. And I think I, at that point, shared with you my experience because Melissa was the first essential oil that I ever used that I had an experience with. And you were like, yeah, that sounds like something that could be beneficial for me. But like looking at your chart and knowing Melissa essential oil, I just want to riff on that if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first and foremost, personality Mars and your 9, which is your design Venus. Is that right?
I have the 9 3 times actually.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. You do have the 9 3 times. I saw that and I was like, oh, wait a minute.
I don't know what that means. I just know that that's the gate I've got the most of.
Okay. So 9 3 times and personality Mars. Okay. As format energy, hanging gates in format channels. Those are going to have that connection to like depression in the system. Okay. Melissa essential oil is one of the best oils to use to support depression. So there's that aspect of it. Melissa is also an essential oil that is high in antiviral properties, autoimmune support, right? Things that are having to do with the immune system. Your spleen is defined through integration circuitry, right? So, and then emotionally, Melissa essential oil is the oil of divine light. It is the oil that you use to be able to remind yourself of your inner light, of your own path, of your own ability to show up as you are, who you are in its fullest capacity. There's this whole challenge that you can do with Melissa essential oil that is fucking really cool. I've done it a couple of times, and it's you do a drop of the oil under your tongue once a day for 21 days. And you just start to hone in on shit. Like it's the craziest thing, because you really start to see stuff for what it is. Like and the more that you see stuff for how it is, the more your energy just doesn't want to engage with things that aren't authentic, right? And so it's like this weird like vacillation of just like how your energy shows up in your body as this pureness, as this light. And at the same time, you're really just starting to kind of hone in on like the truth of things and like what they really are. Like it's not just shining your own light, but it's like shining a light on everything. It's the weirdest thing. And it's super like, I had one friend who also is very, very into oils. And we were hanging out, and it had been forever since we had seen each other. And we were out and like dancing and doing our thing. And halfway through the night, she looked at me and she was like, "Are you doing a Melissa challenge right now?" And I was just like, holy shit, how the fuck would you know that? But she was like, your whole countenance is shining. And also I can see you taking everything in. And it's just like, she's like, you, it just seems like you are like, so, and yeah, I was like on day 16 of a Melissa challenge. And so, yeah. So Melissa essential oil, looking at your chart, knowing how important that defined spleen is in the process of you being a unique, differentiated human being with integration circuitry. And then having these hanging gates that are so influential in your chart on, you know, how you feel pressured to move through this world and how that could correlate to like depression that you experience as well. It just, yeah, I love that Melissa stuck. I love that Melissa was the thing.
Well, I have to respond to that. So I have it's still in my toiletry bag, but I probably haven't even touched it in 6 months. Because I just forgot about it, because I do. So I met you and we talked about Melissa. It was right around the same time as connecting with Dr. Eleanor, and that whole experience has been like a divinity thing, like just crazy. And I also came to the conclusion that I was in a depression. I never understood what that was until about 8 months ago. I had a concept of what depression was, and I had to pull out my metaphysical book, and I was like, fuck, I'm depressed. That's what this is. But I never thought to reach for the Melissa. That's not at all what I thought it was for. My memory was it was good for cuts and bruises and shit. So I was putting it in my belly button and my ears, and I don't even know what to do with the stupid thing. I never put it on my tongue. So
oh my god, I love it. That's the most 25 thing ever. Again, with
the fact that you were like even still using it and putting it into your body and onto your body, like that. I mean, in your belly button, that is one of the quickest ways to do an internal application through an external process, right? Like it's going to affect your body in a very visceral way. So I just love the fact that you didn't know all of those aspects about Melissa and that we didn't talk about it. I didn't look at your chart at that point and tell you should use Melissa, but like, again, synchronistically, you were able to use it for the purposes that you thought, but it still timing wise had an effect on your lived experience. I don't know.
I've had some experiences lately. Partly maybe it's this chi cultivation I've been doing. Like there are times where if I'm really a good boy and I take care of my body and I stay away from the naughty things, I can just feel like this glow coming off me. And that's without this Melissa stuff. Like people engage with me differently. I mean, there's a lot to say on that. Even just the power view, the way you were describing it earlier. I heard it described as like you walk in the room and you can just instantly tell who's got the power. And there'd be times where we're like, oh fuck, it's me again. Damn it. Like nobody's talking to me. Everyone's like staying away from me. I think the alpha channel seems to be something that's people. I have the weirdest interactions with people sometimes. That if I'm glowing or my ex would always say I was too extra, and that was long before having any sense of connection to me or my body. So I need to get like the last Melissa that I got, I think was just this thing on Amazon, and I think it was just meant. Yeah, so don't get that. So I got the wrong Melissa. So I need to get the right Melissa. So I definitely, can we connect on that later? Just point me at the correct one, because this has definitely got my attention. I think I'm finally pulling myself out of a depression and the melancholy of my stuff, and like music ain't doing it. Plus, as a musician and not being able to play music, it's making me bananas. So, yeah, I would just put it in my belly button. I was always putting it in my ears because I knew the 57 was correlated to the right ear, and I just was. This is like, this is where this thing needs to go. But I'd seem to. It's frustrating. So an expert will come along and talk about something, and I'll be like, "Fuck, I've been doing that," but I have no idea why or how I found it. Might have been a YouTube rabbit hole, or it was just like, "Oh, this is a fun experiment." But,
I do that all the time too. That's 1057 shit. That's what I think.
Is that what that is?
I think. I mean, sometimes I'll be doing stuff and then somebody will be like, "This is really good if you do this." I'm like, "Cool, I've been doing that. How awesome that my body knew that." Somebody told me, so I do this weird thing when I bartend, where I will chew ice. I don't know. I never chew ice anywhere else, at home, anywhere else. But when I work at the bar, particularly as we get busier, I will put ice in my mouth and chew it while I'm working. Fucking weird, right? Like I kind of was like, what is that? And I said it casually to somebody one day, and they were telling me how this is ice is a form, it's something used in like therapy for like getting people back in their bodies, or reminding them that you're in a body. Like you could grab ice, it like immediately makes you cold, or you can put it in your mouth, like you're back in your body. And so they were like, sounds to me like you intuitively knew that you needed to do that, because sometimes it feels very overwhelming for me in that environment now, because like now that I know what I know energetically and I'm so much more in tune with what I'm taking in, it can be like, holy fuck shit, what is happening right now around me? And I think it's stuff like that. Like you were putting it in your belly button, one of the fastest ways it can get in your body. Carla just said that's fucking pretty intuitive, I feel like. Also, I cannot believe this is the first time I'm hearing Melissa's name, and like, why is it Melissa? And I love that. And I need some Melissa in my life too, I feel like, because I have a spleen like Sean, and an undefined solar like Sean, and depression tendencies. I got 55 and 60. I need all kinds of Melissa love too. So I want to talk about that too, Carla, later.
Well, the fact that it's a Melissa challenge, like that's,
I love that.
and then that someone else detected, like, sense that you were on it. Like they could see your aura or feel it, or.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope.
She was like, "You're doing a Melissa," and I mean, I can clear as day remember because I was dancing. And I was also like watching people and just like taking it in. And she just got right in front of my face and was like, "You're doing a Melissa challenge, aren't you?" And I was just like, "Fuck, bitch. How did you know?"
Wow. Dope.
That's amazing. I mean, this stuff is this. I talk to people about this all the time, but like, this is the path to finding all your clairs. This is the path to finding all sorts of cool stuff. I'm excited about the experiences that I've been having. But it's so different than the first 53 years of my life. So I'm just trying to like clear the runway so I can take off. But, Well, should we wrap it there? Because Monique,
I got 4% left, so it's up to you. I'll just fade away when the battery dies, and that's fine too. Whatever.
No, I don't want to have that happen. I would do this again though. So if you want to sometime.
Yeah.
I really enjoy these chats, and I used to do it a lot, and then I stopped, and I need to do it again.
Yeah, so you're two of my favorite people to talk to, so I would be super down for that.
Me too. This has been a good time.
Cool. All right. Well, why don't we wrap it there? Monique, are we going to connect this week before I leave? Are you
Yes.
working Thursday? You're there,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
I'm doing bingo Thursday. Yeah. You know it.
I should put that in my calendar.
You should.
Um,
Yeah, that's really all I have going on. I took this week off so that I can try and recover my body some more because it is not recovered yet. But I'm working on that this week. So yeah.
I used to get like an energetic hangover from Santa Fe, and it was
Yeah.
kind of the same with Miami. It was a different vibe.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny when you're talking about being late, and it was like, you've been to Santa Fe, right? Like, was anything ever like
Yeah.
there? Like, why were you worried about being late?
Because it was
But
my conference. It was
I
not
know, and it was definitely a little more,
hosting.
you know.
Yeah, with somebody that was very timely. One of my partners was very timely. And just, you know, that's a me thing. Like I didn't, like I said this in my talk in Miami. I said, you know, meeting Danielle, the owner of Bob's the Bar I work, it was the first time I had seen a business owner that was like not what a business owner was in my mind. Like I'm a defined ajna, like what it is what it is, until somebody reminds me that it can be something different. And I'm like, oh shit, you can be these things and you don't have to fit into this like formula to do it, is kind of what that's what I was like, yeah, no, nothing in Santa Fe is on time, and that's fine. That was Jonah's thing. We'll see this year, you know, because Brandy's doing it. Like it'll have a different, I think, like flavor, you know. But I learned that about myself too, is like the energetic hangover I've had from going to retreats or conferences like this in the past is super fucking real for my body anyways. And then I also was like hosting this, and then there was also like so many people there that I loved so much that I was like, it's a lot. Like I am realizing how much I'm still digesting and processing. Like it's not even close to being done like at all. Like it is still like right here. Like I'm still like swallowing some of it even. It's wild.
I locked my son out, so I need to go.
Okay.
He's been waiting for 30 minutes, and I didn't realize I have like 50 text messages from him. Mom, open the door.
Oh my God, I love it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good night, eh? All right. See you. Bye.
I wouldn't want to be so squishy, squashy. Wash your hands on.